Hello, welcome to my video of a shell challenge that I did, which is one of the hardest shell challenges I've ever attempted. I think it might be the hardest shell challenge ever. But yeah, this is from my friend Vicky, who's Siren Witch on Twitch. I already said that before, and I laughed for way too long about that rhyme. But yeah, this is her shell challenge. It looks really hard if you could see. I'm doing the roof, so it looks like I did it very quickly and that I knew exactly what I was going to do, and that's because I roofed this entire thing, and then my computer crashed, and I was going to cry because I struggled on this roof so bad, and you could see that there's some pieces that seem a little out of place, but I kind of just had to accept the imperfections of the roofing because I didn't know what else to do. I even was looking at other people's entries, and all it did was confuse me even more about how people were able to roof this thing. I didn't even attempt to roof the second layer of it because I knew that I'd be miserable the entire time. But the shell challenge has all of the normal shell challenge rules, you can't touch the walls, and that's pretty much the whole thing. But this one has a bunch of prompts, and there's 8 of them, so you get to ignore 2 of them and not do them. So I'm gonna read some of the prompts. There is, the house has a long porch, so I've done that one. I feel like that's a long porch. It wraps around the side and stuff, so that one was pretty easy, and it sits on a hill. Most of my builds sit on a hill, so I didn't really have to think that one through. I also didn't even show me doing the terrain, because I think that I wasn't even sure if I was going to record this completely, because I was just like, this looks too hard. I might not even make it a video, but I did. So the next one is the outside is bright, which I thought I was going to skip, but there are some other ones that I wasn't really sure if I wanted to do, so I was like, okay, I could challenge myself to make the exterior bright for this build. So I haven't done it yet, but I use the white werewolves wooden wall, and that's what I do for brightness. And 4 is the inside is under renovation. I did do that one. I love doing builds that are under renovation. I made a apartment building a long time ago. It had to be over a year ago now, where the top floor was under renovation. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna keep that in mind. I'm gonna do the same fake walls that I've done, but I kind of change it up a little bit when I get inside of the house. And then 5, it is surrounded by water. Another easy one for me. All my builds are surrounded by water. I do the same thing every single time. I do a long thing of water, and then I just lower rocks with tool. So I did the exact same thing with this. 6 is someone lives here but not necessarily a sim. I did do that one. That seemed like the most interesting and fun one to do. It kind of creates a story for the build, so I did that one. I guess I should also say that this is a horror build. I think it's one of the scarier builds that I've done. It is a house for a haunted doll, and there's a bunch of dolls in here, toys, a lot of spider webs. So if you're afraid of those things, I wouldn't go into live mode or live mode and play with it, because I try and limit the amount of spider webs I put in my builds that actually spawn spiders, because I know that it freaks a lot of people out, so I don't want to jump scare people with my builds. I would rather them be just have an eerie feeling about it, rather than being so scared that they can't look at it. So I did warn Vicky about that, and I was like, yeah, you might want to just tour it in build mode before any of the stuff spawns in. So 7 is they own a green toilet, which I ignored. I'm not doing that one, and it was because I don't like the green toilet in the game, but I realized that there is one that I could have used, but it's fine. I didn't do that one. And 8 is the owner loves flowers and cats. I didn't choose that one because I was like, oh, I don't really know what to put in here for cats. I don't want like a litter box or anything. The only flowers I use are on the exterior. And so my vision for this build was that it's been abandoned for a long time, so I didn't want any plants on the inside that seemed like they need watering. I could have made a mistake and put some, but I tried to not put any plants that seemed real and like they're cared for. I wanted the place to look like it's kind of just rotting and left alone completely. So, yeah, I wrote a little preview lore story in the description on the gallery. I also warned that it's not functional. This build isn't functional. The thing with this shell challenge is the roof was really difficult, but the shape is also really difficult for floor plans. And so I should have really put a bedroom on the bottom floor, and I didn't until it was too late and I couldn't really change anything. So there's no like full size bed in this build at all. Yeah, so the kitchen also, there's no kitchen. Okay, I'll just say my story, I guess, for the build. It is a person owned this, they inherited it. Their name was Dahlia, which is the name of the haunted doll in The Sims. There was a house fire that destroyed the entire kitchen, and no one really wanted to go inside because like they didn't really know the owner, but they got a construction crew to go and try and like fix the damage of the house, and they fled of like what they found inside, and no one ever dared to return or go inside the house again. That's kind of like the story I had in my mind of this, because I usually, whenever I build something scary, I always kind of like go into my own fears and I'm afraid of dolls and stuff like that. So I would definitely not go inside of this house at all. The kitchen, I spent a lot of time burning it down, but I don't know if that stays in like the gallery when you download it. I hope it does. I'm gonna take some pictures to send to Vicky, so when like she tours it and it's not like that, she'll know what it's supposed to look like. But yeah, tours are going to be, well, tours are gonna have passed for mine at least. So I'm uploading this on like April, what day is that? April 10th. And she's gonna tour this on April 7th. So I'm gonna post to like the YouTube community thing that she's gonna be touring my next speed build video on Friday, and anyone who sees that and wants to check it out can like watch it. But as of today, if you're watching the day of upload, tomorrow, which is April 11th, she's gonna continue tours of like other people's entries, because she has a lot of entries. So if you want to see other people's entries live and like her thoughts and stuff, it's always really fun. I really like the way that she does tours. She looks at like every little detail in people's builds, which I think is really nice, because people put a lot of effort into their builds and stuff, so it's like nice to be able to see like someone go through every little tiny detail that's in the build. Like she'll go through and she'll make lore to parts of my build that I didn't even like think much of while I was doing it. I was just like, oh, I'm gonna place this here and it's fine, and then she'll like tour and be like, oh, like this is connected to this. So I really like it. It's a lot of fun. So if you see this before the tours are over, I definitely highly recommend checking it out and like even participating in a future shell challenge of hers. She does them pretty often. You get enough time to kind of like actually do it, so you get like at least like a couple months, I think, every time, which I really like because this one took me a long time. I kept pausing every single time. But yeah, if you see that like painter's wall where you sell paintings on it, that's what I use for like fake renovation walls, and I really wanted to keep them, and I think I keep both of them. I did change the floor plan like from what I was originally gonna do, My game also crashes another time on this lot. That never happens to me. So I think the build is genuinely cursed because I've never had my computer crash playing The Sims before. Like, it's crashed, like, randomly on Discord and stuff, but never when I'm playing The Sims. So there's some part of this build that is cut out a little bit because it got corrupted when it crashed, which it happened to my other video last week too. Like, a part of it got corrupted, but it was like a big chunk of it, so I sat and I screen recorded it to put it back into the video. This, it didn't seem worth it because it was like a very small amount, and this video is already super long. I like to keep my videos at like 23 minutes, like, tops, if I can do that, and usually they are. That's kind of like the spot that I notice they are, so when they're around that, I'm like, okay, that's good. This one's like 5 minutes longer. I thought it was going to be so much longer too, but I realized that I had so much of gameplay recorded of me trying to burn down the kitchen with a spellcaster, and so I really hope that it stays on the gallery. I've never tried to upload burnt objects, so I hope that it's okay, because I definitely know that broken objects get fixed, I'm pretty sure, because I watched Mossy Sim try and download a like broken clothesline and it wasn't working. So I'm a little bit nervous that it's not going to. But this is supposed to be the dining room. So it seemed like someone came in and they were trying to fix up the place a little bit. There's like paint cans around, like furniture is covered up, so I guess that would be like the nice furniture that they wanted to keep covered up and stuff. And the other parts of the downstairs, it's kind of like a bunch of stuff piled up, which I would, in my head, was like they pushed all of the stuff that they could like salvage into like the front room of the house. And I guess in my story, what would make them flee is if they went upstairs, because the upstairs is the scary part. The downstairs, it just is like the renovation area. Maybe somebody like wandered upstairs when they really shouldn't have, maybe to like check to see if there's any damage to like the flooring upstairs, and then they like did a little walkthrough of the house and they're like, yeah, we need to get out of here, this isn't normal. But yeah, it was fun and like a huge challenge doing this build. I really just like, I didn't know what I was gonna do anymore at this point. But yeah, so I'm just like putting a bunch of boxes of stuff so it looks like they gathered up a bunch of things. Or maybe they didn't gather it up. Maybe the person who lived here was trying to flee the house too, and so they were gathering all of their stuff. And so maybe that's why a lot of the stuff wasn't as damaged as it could have been, because like all of those like kitchen items aren't burnt or anything, and you would think that they would be. And I'm using these, what pack is that from? I think it's like the movie Hangout pack. I love those, the wardrobes. I'm using them as cabinets. I don't think I use it in all of these spaces. I was really trying to make it work, and I think this is when I realized, oh, I should burn down the kitchen because I couldn't get the kitchen right. So I was like, well, I can't get the kitchen right, so I guess I'll just like end up burning it down. I like the look of those as cabinets. There's something off about it though. Yeah, I'm not really sure what it is, but it felt, maybe it's because I know that it's not supposed to be a cabinet, so I'm thrown off a little bit. This side room is something that I had no idea what I was going to do, because I already had a living room plan and a dining room plan, so I was like, what is this room going to be? But this is the living room area. It's just like in the rounded wall. There's not much in that space. The space to the left could have been a bedroom. I don't even know if a like double bed could have fit in there. But maybe that's also the thing where the owner, she was just by herself, so she just turned that room into, it's going to be a study, so she turned the room into a study. And I guess the upstairs also doesn't make a lot of sense because where's the bedroom in the house? In like the description, I kind of hinted at it being like a very short stay in this house. So maybe there was never a bedroom and she like moved in and like immediately there was a fire in the kitchen of mysterious ways of like who started the fire. Was it her? Was it something else? Like was she trying to burn down the house before like whatever is like living inside could like get out or something? That kind of feels like The Shining. um that is like my favorite book, so I guess it makes sense. Yeah, so this is the library study area. I was trying something different with this little corner and I like how it turns out, so I sized down the console tables, or those are just coffee tables, to make cabinets for it because that piece looks a little too modern for this sort of build. It's a little too modern for most of my builds, which is why I don't really use those very often unless I'm like pairing it with something. Like I use that when I putting it with the bed. So this time I did this. That's exactly what I did with it. And I was really trying to figure out which curtains I wanted, and this is the point where I was starting to realize that the inside of the build was going to be a little too fancy compared to the exterior, because the exterior looks very like weathered down. And I always kind of like struggle with that because I'm like, oh, the exterior looks like this, but the interior looks like this. Is that okay? And it's something I don't mind in other people's builds. Like I love people's interiors and exteriors and they don't have to match in my head. But for some reason my builds, I'm like, they need to match or it's gonna look stupid, Megan. But it actually, like, it really doesn't matter. I try to tell myself that whenever I'm building. But when that happens, I normally just have to take a break from building because anything I do, I'm gonna just like overthink it the entire time. But I think I really start liking this build because of this room. This is probably my favorite room in the build. I didn't really know what to do for most of it to like give it a really nice like feel that I like my builds to have, like a very scary, worn down look. So for that, I decided to just spam place a bunch of wall holes from vampires in like every single room. So you'll see, maybe that's why the video is so long, because I individually place like a million of the vampire holes in the walls. And my friend was watching me do it. Well, she wasn't watching me do it, but we were on VC and we were like sharing our sim stuff, and all she heard from me for like 20 minutes was me placing an item over and over again. And it was just the holes in the walls, and then she'd like call out anytime. She's like, oh, there's the sound again of me putting a bunch of holes in the walls. But I really like it. It like feels like the wallpaper is rotting, which would make sense for this sort of build to be kind of like left alone and not cared for at all. So I didn't see any plants inside yet, which is good because I really didn't want to put any plants in, because like I thought that if I was going to put a plant inside, it would have to be a dead plant, and I didn't really want to size down the dead vampire bushes because I figured there'd be a weird shadow on them. So I was like, okay, no plants at all. The person who lived here didn't want any plants inside the house, or maybe they like took the plants out before it all happened. Now that I'm thinking about it, if I wanted the story to be like that when I was building, I would have like put some furniture out on the deck, so it was like she was saving some of the stuff. But I didn't come up with the full lore until I uploaded to the gallery. But yeah, I think, did I build this without the curtain mod? Like a few of my builds don't use the free place curtain mod, and it was such a struggle to do. I removed all my mods when the new pack came out, the update and stuff, but I think the update didn't happen yet because I didn't use any of the growing together objects. I changed that pipe organ to an upright piano later on. So yeah, this is even a weird jump for me. I was putting the like all the videos together to edit, and I was like, suddenly like this pipe organ disappeared. Maybe that was in the footage that I was like I lost or something. I don't know. But Yeah, I'm gonna use the upright piano in like most of my builds now. It's really good. Because the pipe organ is cute, but it feels a little too fancy sometimes. So it's really nice to just have a plain upright piano that fits into my builds because I don't build giant things. I always try to keep them pretty small. And this build, it looks pretty big in the downstairs. And I was struggling with filling up the space. Again, I should have had a bedroom because the upstairs, you'll see like the glimpse of it just before. It's really small. If I wanted a bedroom, I probably should have left it a loft space, but I like how it turns out. I think it's like a perfect upstairs for this sort of build. um, but yeah, the bathroom, I almost forgot a bathroom. I do that every single time. A bathroom would not have been able to fit upstairs, so I'm glad that I was able to just like squeeze in a bathroom. I think I just took some of the living room space, which helped because I didn't know what I wanted to put in the living room. um, I think I say this pretty often, but I'm starting to get burnt out from interiors. And I'm pretty sure I was like not feeling interiors while I was doing this as well. So that's why I just placed a bunch of rotting like holes in the wall throughout most of it. The upstairs feels like I just didn't want to place any more objects, which ends up helping me out because the upstairs is the scary part of the build. So it ended up like turning out the way that I would want it to. I kept going back into my build and like pretending like I was Vicky and I was touring my own build, and I was like, she would want something in this corner of this room, but I don't know what to place in that corner of this room. And then I'd like go back and try to like fix it. So maybe that's why some of the like video jumps, because maybe I was just like doing that and then immediately putting something down or getting rid of something. That could have been it completely. I remember wanting to go back in and change the colors of some of this clutter because I do need to keep in mind when I do shell challenges that the person who's going to tour the build isn't going to have my reshade on, and so everything's gonna look slightly different. So anytime like someone tours my build, I feel like I'm also seeing it for the first time because I don't look at it for too long in the normal like game color, I guess. When I'm doing build videos, I don't, because when I'm doing build videos, I keep the filter on because I feel like it just looks nicer and it kind of gives the feel for it that I want, because I only get like 30 seconds or something to show the look of the builds in the way I want it to with reshade on. So it kind of makes sense to just have it on for the entire speed build. But when I'm building like normally and not recording it, or if I'm building on like my Twitch stream, I don't have reshade on. So sometimes like I'll start a build and I won't like want to deal with like fighting looking through the swatches with reshade on, because it kind of obscures some things with the UI, which can be a little frustrating sometimes if you just want to like build without thinking about anything. But yeah, I decided to put a bunch of books in the bathtub to make it look like it hasn't been in use for like a very long time. Which, yeah, I guess they like wanted to save the books. I guess that would be the construction crew was like, oh, okay, let's like put all of this stuff in like other places of the house. Which I wish I could, like, that wasn't even in my mind for some reason. It matches in with my story though, so I wish I had that in my head when I was decorating more, because I would have just stacked more stuff up. But I would have stacked books up, and there's not that many like book objects in the game, so it'd get repetitive pretty quickly, which is something that I struggle with. Oh, this is now you can see the burnt kitchen. You can see my spellcaster sim, who I brought in to just like burn down this place over and over again. I was trying to burn paintings on the walls, but I realized they just turned to ash, so I couldn't do that. I tried to burn the haunted doll, because my original idea was for the haunted doll to be in the kitchen, and so it's like, oh, like, did the doll cause the fire? Is the previous owner of the doll? Like, what happened? Like, the doll's all burnt, but you can't burn that doll. I tried, like, over and over again, and I was like, okay, Megan, why are you trying over and over when you know it's not gonna work? But yeah, so now I know that I'm doing holes in the walls everywhere, so I immediately just do that before I do anything else. I don't put much in this room. I feel like maybe I do a chest table. There's not a lot of space though. I don't want another couch. I feel like I put enough couches in this build. So yeah, there's a bunch of spider webs around again. I wouldn't look at this in like actual gameplay mode if you are afraid of spiders. And I'm not really sure how scary the like Sims spiders are to people who are afraid of spiders, because I'm afraid of spiders, but I'm not like afraid of the Sims spiders, so I'm not really sure. But I always try to keep it in mind. So when I do the video before this, I'll probably like delete and add the webs in every time there's one just to keep it like from happening. But yeah, this is the one bedroom I have in the house. It's just a crib with the doll in, and like something happened to me when I was doing this. It was just like, I feel like I was very scared, and it just felt very scary, which is why I think it might be one of the more scary builds that I've ever done. But I wanted to do that for Vicky's shell challenge because she did like a really scary room for my Halloween one with this doll. So I was like, okay, I need to do that for her too because she'll love it. I placed those chairs on the wall because I remember just seeing a random reel on Instagram of someone in like an antique shop, and they were just like filming all this stuff, and they were like, I'm kind of afraid of all these chairs on the wall, and it makes sense that they'd store them like that, but it looks really scary. And so I was like, chairs on the walls, Megan, put chairs on the walls. Oh, and this part, I don't think like she's gonna get this at all, but I wanted to make it look like the painting of the previous owner was moved from this room downstairs. Like something happened where they were like, we need to get this out of this doll room. And so I like put the holes around that. I don't think it's like easily noticed. I wanted to try, like I was going to have a trail of like muddy paw prints through the house that leads from the painting downstairs to the like painting hole upstairs, but it didn't look good. I didn't want paw prints. I wanted like it to look like doll like footprints. So I decided to just not do that at all. But yeah, this is where I start using more of the new pack. I love the new toy box. And I wanted to put that dollhouse on the desk because when I was a kid, I remember having my dollhouse raised up on my desk in my room. And so I wanted to do that, but it didn't fit on that desk, and I was already committed to that one. This might be the last room in the build. I didn't know what to do with it, and I couldn't put ladders in here, so I deleted the floor for the tower, and I'm just putting a bunch of floating toys in here. So if she doesn't look up when she tours it, I'll be screaming in her chat, look up, look up. I'm sure she will, though. So that's like the only thing I could think of for this. I almost forgot to do the other little tower, which was a square that we got to place wherever we wanted to. And I was like, I need to add something in there. So I hope I recorded that. I don't know how much longer the video is, so I'm just gonna say my thank you for watching now. I've been wanting to say that earlier in the videos, but then I just talk and then I forget. But yeah, this will be on the gallery. My gallery ID is like TheCrackedKyber because CrackedKyber's taken. I wouldn't download this, it's not functional. But yeah, this is the last room. When I don't know what to do, I do a wall of mirrors, so I felt like that was pretty scary. I believe I put a doll up in this room. I'm not 100% sure if I show it on the video, but yeah. Is there anything else I need to say? Just check out Siren Witch on Twitch and Instagram. She's a great friend of mine. I've known her for a long time. I met her through Animal Crossing Instagram, and so yeah, she's a very great friend to me. My god, my voice is going. So yeah, highly recommend her streams. I'm usually there annoying everybody in chat. So thank you for watching. Bye.